All right, so I've been able to make quite a bit of progress over the past week or so. Did have to fight some bitter cold weather, especially for us here in North Carolina. It was like 12 degrees and the high was 23, 26, something like that. But I toughed it out, got it here and got it done. This is where I'm at in the process right now. Not quite ready for the fine grade, the ultra fine grade is what I would call it. But what you see is basically what you're gonna get. So I'll be doing a second video on the ultra fine grade using zero equipment, using the best grading option that I have, and that's these two hands right here, and some rakes and a shovel and things like that. And I'll show you how I'm going to ultra fine grade this before the actual putting green surface goes down. And then we'll do a third video on the actual putting surface going down, do some chipping and putting, you know, try it out, see how it all works and that kind of thing. I have to say, it's been a long time since I've been excited about something in my yard. You know, I've always told you that lawn care, in general, is one of the most repetitious things you do year in and year out. You fertilize at basically the same time of the year. You mow the grass, you know, at a certain frequency during the course of the year, and you water. And you know, the only thing that dictates something other than that is the weather, maybe microclimates and stuff like that. But you know, at a certain point in time, it gets, I ain't gonna say boring, but it gets repetitious. You know what I mean? And I kind of lost a little bit of interest in the turf aspect. And you know, it doesn't mean I don't keep a excellent looking stand of turf. I still do, but I'm just not. I'm not at the. Gosh, how do I word this? I'm just not as excited about my grass as I used to be. You know, started playing golf. My sons are playing with me and that kind of thing. So there's more important things in life. But with all that said, I am pumped about this thing. I mean, just over the top excited to get this done, to get my kids out here, my wife out here, so we can hang out and have a good time. So how did we get to this point? Let's go over that. So to start, removed all organic material. A lot of this area, especially over here, was all pine needle area, a bunch of Stella d'Oro. Daylilies were over here. Every bit of that had to go and come out. Then I took my power rake and the Ventrac and rough graded all of this. This bed area right here was kind of built up a little bit in kind of a circle area, half moon area shape. All that got cut down and redistributed out here. That way, you know, I'm just starting with a pretty decent flat surface. The natural grade lay of the land does fall from the house down to here. Really not going to change that because you want your water to go away from your house, right? So once I did all that, it was time to bring in my first aggregate. And, you know, I had buddies that both do this for a living. One uses 57s, the other uses Crusher Run. Crusher Run is basically this type of material right here, like the fine screenings mixed in with larger rock like that for drainage. You know, you want this thing to drain well. You don't want standing water. So it was either Crusher Run or 57s. I elected to go with the Crusher Run. Just did. Don't have a reason why I did it. The next one I ever do, I'll probably do 57s. And then I can compare the two and see how, you know, see the difference between the two of them. One thing I would do differently. I was in a pinch for time, tried to save time, so I backed my big F550 full of stone right through the yard right here and devastated it, just to say the least. That's about a 4 to 5 inch rut I'm standing in, and you can see right there all the tracks and everything. So, you know, if I, you know, hindsight's 20/20. If I had this to do over again, I would have dumped my material in the driveway and hauled it around here with the Ventrac, but that would have been a very slow and tedious process because that's a lot of material. 6, 12, 18, 22. That's pushing 22 tons of just the crusher run right there. So I had to pull my dump truck in here like 5 or 6 times. So it really rutted this up. Good thing is you'll get to see a video on how I repair severe ruts in a high quality standard turf. So rough graded with the power rake and the crusher run, just to kind of give the entire area a shape, a general shape. You know, my idea originally was in that back corner. I wanted it somewhat flat back there, a little bit of a hump in the far corner right there to give me some undulation. And before I go any further, this is not a severely undulated green, or it's not going to be. It does have some undulation in it. It's not completely flat by no means, but I didn't want to put a circus golf course back here. I played golf courses like Todd Hill Farm and Tobacco Road. For anybody that's local to me, you know those golf courses have severe undulation. I wanted something minor undulation with subtle changes in the grade, subtle breaks and that kind of thing. You know, my 13-year-old is going to be out here probably more than anybody else. So I didn't want nothing too dramatically difficult for him. And then I'm also thinking of resale. I didn't want anything too dramatically difficult. So the green does have undulation. It's flat back there. It tapers from about my finger and goes at an angle across here with like a little ridge. From that point back there to where I'm standing is about a 10 to 12 inch difference. So there is fall going this way as well. And this ridge right here goes right through here. And then I have another little whoop-de-doo slope kind of in this corner that we can use. And then when you get back here, it kind of flattens out again. And then when you come back here even further, I ended up putting me a chipping box. So this whole big square right here, the first half of it will be a true rough material. That's another reason I didn't want to bring the Ventrac, the fear of dropping rocks in my yard, but I did anyway. The first half of this will be rough. Second half will be fringe, so I'll have 2 different heights of chipping area. And then the golf green itself will start somewhere in here. And this is kind of flat right here as well. So flat, upper ridge, flat, and they got some undulated sloped areas in the 2 corners. And let me say this too while I'm thinking about it. This is my first one ever doing it. I grade ball fields, I laser grade. I understand grading to a T. Well, I'm not perfect with it, but I understand it really well. So the grading part is no big deal for me, but the process is the first time I've ever installed a synthetic putting green. So I took to friends that do it, have companies that do it for a living, took to the internet, watched videos on some guys I think that do really good work, and so I watched some of those. And so I learned the process through, you know, all that communication I got from friends and watching it on the internet. So the crusher run went down, graded it roughly, and found out that this is one of the most important parts you need to do. Don't let your material dry out. See how this is drying out over here? That's okay now because I'm done. But in the packing and tamping process, don't let it dry out. Get it graded, wet it down real good, and then pack the snot out of it. This is a Whacker packer. Who makes this thing? Whacker Newsom. That's a really good machine. First time I've ever used it. I bought it for ball field work, for packing home plate and pitcher's mound, but comes in handy right here as well. So packed it, wet it down again, packed it a second time. So total, this thing's been packed about 5 times with this thing right here. The thing is, you want this hard as a rock. You want it as hard as you can get it because you don't want any settling over time. That's why you pack it down. Once I got the crusher run the way I wanted it, then you bring in a finer material, and this is fine screenings right here. You can kind of see how that is. It's real fine. And for grading, the finer the material, the more perfect you can get the final finished grade. So that's why you put the finished material on top. And it's about, I don't know, maybe 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches in a couple of spots here and there. But then I took my ABI Force. Out of all things, I thought I was going to have to hand rake all this. And I got to thinking, I was like, dang, I've got an ABI Force and I use it day in and day out. It would be ideal for this. So it saved me hours of raking. Hours, I'm telling you. This is a lot of material to rake. I'm still rough grading. Okay, most of the time you see me on my ABI Force, I'm finish grading or fine grading a ball field. You have to keep this in context, okay? This putting green, we're going to do a ultra fine grade on it in the next video, but I'm using the ABI Force for what I would normally use it for fine grading on a ball field or in a yard. I'm just still rough grading. I mean, it's a finely graded place. Hope you kind of get what I'm saying here. There's still one more step of grading, and it's not using a machine. It's going to be using these bad boys right here. So worked this material and just worked it, got this really nice and flat. It actually starts here, slopes down just a pinch. It helps being a golfer because I can visualize the breaks and the grade I want to see because I put it on, I don't know, thousands of golf greens. So I know how balls roll on the golf green. So you can visualize that out how you want it. But this right here kind of slopes down, flattens off right here, and then it's flat this way too. So I've got a big area right here that's basically flat, but there's still going to be little slight breaks and stuff like that even in the flat area. It continues flat right here, and right about there she kind of drops down and then flattens off, and that ridge goes right through there and works into that turn in that corner right there. So I can see me putting a cup right here, and if I'm putting, say, from right here in this corner right here, in order to make that putt right there, I'm going to have to aim somewhere up here because it's going to break over to it. So like I said, it helps to be a golfer and to play often because you can kind of visualize how you want the ball to roll, and you literally create this thing the way you want to, and you put the breaks in it that you want to. So I just think that's pretty cool that this particular instance you're able to do that. Now I can already see right here, see my pile of stuff, see my extra pile of stuff, just in case I need a little bit. And from about right here to right there, it's about a 3-foot stretch. I need to put just a little bit more to flatten that off, because that a little bit too much fall. If you lose a ball right there, it's going to go on down. So that's kind of the process. You can see right here, I do have nailer board around the edges right there, and that's basically nothing but a composite 2x4. I think they're 16 feet long, and you drill holes in it, run rebar through it, and that kind of keeps your material from working out and falling out. It kind of keeps everything nice and tight. I did have a little extra material, so I actually used that on the back side of the nailer board too, to even add more pressure against the nailer board. I can't stress enough what I've learned from my buddies in the internet is you want this tight. I'm meaning compacted hard so nothing shifts over time. Because that's the worst thing in the world could happen is you have a soft spot in the middle of the green and you're walking with your buddies out there putting and you sink down a little bit, and then you have to come up and rip half of it up just to recompact a soft spot. I ain't got time for that crap. So that's why I went above and beyond in compacting it, because I just don't want to have to come back and redo anything. So the vision on this is, you can see my air conditioning units about 6 inches out from the air condition. I'm going to pull a dead straight line right there. And from here over is going to be like a decorative rock. I went ahead and put the fine screenings down right here and done a little hand tamping. That way I just got a good level, even base. Oh, and you know what? I forgot to tell y'all. Up under all this, before I even put the Crusher Run rock down, there's a layer of weed fabric. I may end up backfilling this area right here just to kind of level it up a little bit with dirt. And like I said, this area right here, the front half of it is going to be fringe, which is, you know, a little bit shorter than rough. Maybe it's a 1/2 inch tall, 3/4 inch, and then back here is going to be a rough area, which may be, you know, 1 inch, 1.25 inches. So that's where we're at on this. I am well pleased with the results so far. Today is Wednesday. Friday this week, we're supposed to get some very heavy rainfall. So I'm getting ready to go in the house, grab my oldest son, and he and I are going to tarp this area. That way this area just don't get soupy wet from all the rain and that kind of thing. And I want to be able to control the water with my water hose. You can see right here where the sun is peeking through right there. This edge right here is starting to dry out a little bit. So we'll wet this down, spray it down one last time like you do a pitcher's mound, then tarp it. And you know, I still haven't figured out which synthetic turf brand I'm going to go with. I've been hearing a lot about Synturf, SYNTURF, that they're like top of the line, but they're also extremely expensive. So I'm not sure, just have no clue what I'm going to do yet as far as that. My buddy Brad here locally does have some rough material that I think he's going to give me from a leftover job that I may have enough to do all my rough. I may come out smelling like a rose on that, but the actual putting surface, I've got 4 samples from 4 different companies. All 4 of them look absolutely identical to each other. I honestly cannot tell the difference between any of those 4. And I'm waiting on my Synturf sample to come in. So I don't know which one I'm going to go with. But regardless, I've got some time before we do that. Because like I said, we got rain coming and I need things to dry up. And also, before I put the turf down, I think I'm going to go ahead and cut my liripe. I still got a few little leaves here and there I got to blow and clean up. And get the surrounding area just really mint and clean, you know, like I would prep for the springtime or something. And of course it won't be long, we'll be putting pine needles down anyway. And it's really going to dress this side up over here. I'm telling you, this is going to look some kind of good when I'm done with it. I cannot wait to stick a sand wedge right there and chip down to that corner green down there. That's going to be pretty cool. And of course, you know me, we'll probably end up going back there to the building and we'll hit lob wedges over the crepe myrtles onto the green. And then we'll probably go out in the road at some point in time and hit lob wedges over this crepe myrtle onto the green. Heck, I don't think I have quite enough room this way. We might could go on that side of the house and chip over the house to a pin location. I don't know. That might be pushing it. The green ain't quite deep enough for that. But anyway, we'll do some crazy shots back here for sure. But anyway, subscribe and all that kind of stuff. And we'll do the fine grading video next using these and rakes and that kind of thing. And then after that, we'll actually do the install of the surface itself. And I'll show you what I've learned. Thank you for watching. Check you later.